IPL Radio.
And in the studio today we have with us Lynn Miller again. You've been with us a number of times now, Lynn.
Yes, I have. It's been such a pleasure.
Welcome back to IPL Radio.
Thank you.
Now, talking to you earlier, or over email, you indicated that you're heading off to Africa shortly.
Again, yes. Yeah, but this time I'm going to Tanzania first and then Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kenya is just my arrival point.
Right.
I won't be doing anything in Kenya this time, but I'm doing a women's conference in Uganda for 4 days, and then a women's conference, Uganda for 5 days and Tanzania for 4 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Water for Africa program that is happening in Tanzania?
No, I'm aware of a water thing for Africa, but not specifically for Tanzania.
Yeah. If I thought about it, I would have come prepared with names and places and that sort of thing. But there is a fellow who was a plumber here in Western Australia, and saw the filthy water that they had to contest with. And so he has set up a program called Water for Africa, and they drill bores for villages and give them fresh water.
It's wonderful.
So it only costs about $5,000 a bore, and they've done a remarkable job over there. So
yeah, many times when I've gone into villages, whether it's been India or Africa, you see a lot of sickness, and you know that it's coming from the water. All they need is this, what would be for us a cheap bore, and so many things would be dealt with. Yeah. And
it's amazing, that $5,000 would affect the lives of
entire village.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
It's
great work.
And it's not only the clean water that they get, it's the fact that they would normally have to walk so far and carry all the water back, and it must be a terrific
absolutely. And it's usually the women who do it.
Yes.
I remember watching it, and the women would leave 7 o'clock in the morning. They'd be back at 10, 3 hours later for just the day's water.
Yeah.
Then they'd do it again the next day. Yeah.
We don't know how good we've got it here in Australia, do we?
Yes.
And we complain about such trivial things. And water's the least of our worries just about. And so, but you haven't come to talk about that. You've come to present a food
for thought. Yes. I was thinking about it, obviously. And about 6 months ago, I spoke about forgiveness.
You did.
And I just kept thinking about the flip side of the coin, that really we wouldn't seek or receive forgiveness if we weren't prepared to say, I'm sorry. And so I started thinking about that. I remember as a child, I can't say I was specifically taught to say, I'm sorry. So as I became an adult, I could feel myself swallowing, dry chips to get the word out. And I thought, I need to practice this. And then I thought about that movie. I think I was around 16 at the time when it came out. It was the movie called Love Story. And they made this statement, love means never having to say you're sorry. And it took off big time. I mean, 2 bands made songs out of it. About 4 or 5 TV shows began to use it, and other movies. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, Ryan O'Neill, who was acting in it, was acting with Barbara Streisand in What's Up, Doc? And he ends up saying, she makes the statement, and he goes, what a load of bunk. So then you started getting these opposite.
Yes.
But I was thinking about that statement together with many others, that really, they become myths. They become this sort of romantic notion of love and what it's really about. And so it becomes love, but it's not separated from behaviour. Like when I grew up, my children, I would say, I love you, but I don't like what you're doing. And so the training was to their behaviour, but they knew that they were loved.
Yes.
And in a loving relationship, saying sorry is really important. The Bible doesn't actually use the word saying sorry or apologise, but it uses the word confess or ask for forgiveness, which is the same, And in the Bible it says if you confess what you've done wrong, God will forgive you immediately. But if we hold on to it, our hearts get hardened.
Absolutely.
And it's very unhealthy for relationships.
Yes.
So I had a look at the benefits of why is it good for us to say I'm sorry? Well, firstly, it clears the air. You know, when you confess to someone, I did wrong, you swallow your pride, get rid of any shame, and you clear the air. You know, imagine yourself at a Christmas dinner and there's an argument and no one's prepared to clear the air and say I'm sorry. Well, that atmosphere hangs around for the whole family. It ruins it for everyone, for the entire Christmas dinner, because two people weren't willing to humble themselves and say I'm sorry. And I'm sorry isn't necessarily I'm right, you're wrong thing. It's whether it was intentional or unintentional, I can see it hurt you. That's all that matters. It's hurt you. I can now heal your heart. I can now make it better for you. So your sorry might be, I really didn't mean to do that. However, I know it hurt you. I'm sorry. Or I did mean to do that and I'm sorry. You know, I was reacting and I'm sorry. It's such a healing word. It restores relationships. It leaves room for forgiveness. It is just a very a healing word that gives room for people to move on.
Yes.
And the sooner we do it, the quicker we can move on.
That's right.
You know, if I looked at some of the research in the world, it's good for your mental health. And I thought about the scripture in the Bible that says, confess your faults one to another and you will be healed. And I'm thinking it's been in the Bible for years, you know. Yes. There's a wisdom that says the healing of the heart is just as important as the healing of the body. In fact, it's the healing of the heart that maintains and keeps relationships effective. And they can grow, people can grow together. So I thought about this love means never having to say you're sorry, and I thought, what's the mythical thinking behind that? And it's, you know, all I could think of was this romantic notion of if you really love each other, you'll either never hurt or disappoint each other, which is so unrealistic, or you will, because you so love each other, it doesn't matter if you do wrong. You're just so ready to ignore it. But I think little wounds of the heart sneak in. Words are powerful, and they can be like darts that, you know, stick in the heart, and if you just ignore them, the darts stay there. But if you say, I'm sorry, and I forget, and you get forgiveness, the darts get pulled out. Very powerful.
The other phrase that people use is love covers a multitude of sins. And, you know, we sort of bury ourselves under that sometimes.
Yeah, but love covers a multitude of sins by doing the right thing with love, right? It's not just because it's love, we don't have to talk about it. Love covers it by saying sorry. Love covers it by asking for forgiveness. Love covers it and gets rid of it and heals it and restores it by doing what love would do. And love cares. If love means never having to say I'm sorry, it's like saying, well, I don't care that I saw that dart go into your heart. I don't care that I saw your eyes look down in hurt, because love is unconditional. That's mythical as well. It
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing is there's so many truths in the Bible that apply whether you believe in God or not.
Yes.
They are divine laws that exist.
Yes.
And whether people believe in God or not, if they apply these truths, they work in the natural as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because God's general love and mercy for mankind has provided truths that he wants us all to. I guess it's in my last talk I spoke about absolute truth versus universal truth, and myths can become universal truths, but absolute truth is truth. It stands regardless.
Yeah, and it's a big topic at the moment, truth, and with the government wanting to introduce sort of censorship of various things, and it's a very vital thing to our society.
Yes.
Truth.
Yeah, if we don't have a measuring stick, we get lost.
That's right.
Yeah, we get lost and go, how did I end up over here? Yeah. The other thing I found myself thinking about was, how do you say sorry? Because there's a way of saying sorry that's effective, and there's another way of saying it that just puts more of a jab in a person's heart. The sorry that justifies, the sorry that victimizes and blame shifts onto the other person. I'm sorry, but it was your fault. I'm sorry, but.
Yes.
But just a sincere, humble apology. I'm sorry. I know that I hurt your feelings.
But it is, like you said at the beginning, it is sometimes a hard word to say.
Yes. You've got to practice it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a bit like saying I love you. I remember as a young man, I found it very difficult to say, and I thought this is not good, and so I had to sort of force myself.
Yes.
And after a while, it became just second nature.
Yes, absolutely. And because of my own experience, I remember teaching my 2 children from the beginning to say sorry. And if it came out just, I'm sorry, it wasn't good enough. I'd stand in front of each other, look each other in the eyes, and learn to say sorry sincerely. And they just, it's so natural to them with each other, with the family. It's just so natural to them now as well. And then the other thing was, how do you respond when someone says, I'm sorry? It's actually very simple. It's actually not complicated to say sorry. And it's simple to receive it. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's just those simple words can just wipe away so much. And then if more understanding is needed or more expression is needed, it paves the way for that. I need to express. You've left me room to express without reacting, right? Because you're willing to hear from me. Perhaps even why it affected me. Sometimes people don't say sorry because they said that little thing that I said is nothing compared to your reaction. So they think that justifies me not saying sorry. But sometimes the little things that we say trigger things that have nothing to do with now. They're to do with the past. So if the person's reaction is bigger than the event, it's just a sign that, wow, what's really going on here? There's something that this is associated with in this person's past. Maybe it will help them if I say sorry and listen and let them... And then boom, deeper healing occurs.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a great word, sorry.
And it's so simple, but so hard to do. So.
Which is probably why I felt to talk about it on Food for Thought.
Well,
it's a challenge to us, to ourselves.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lynn. It's been a pleasure having you here again, and we'll be interested to sort of hear a report about your trip to Africa when you return.
Thank you.
And I'm sure God's going to bless your time there richly. And, we look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.